Okay, so as a group leader, I'm in charge of leading leading the discussion, I guess. I hope you guys all did your reading because that's what we're going over. I kind of already forgot a little bit of it, so I hope you guys are excited to join in. The first part we're going to do is to get to know one another. Take a few minutes to introduce one by sharing their name, their favorite thing about this course, and their career goals. I'll start. My name's Tyrone Miller. This is my 8th, 9th semester at BYUI. I'm living up here right now. I'm from Idaho Falls, so like 20 minutes from Rexburg, if you guys don't know. My favorite thing about this course is I like learning about behavior. I think that's interesting. The readings kind of like really boring to me, I'll admit, kind of long, but once you learn about health behavior, that's when it gets interesting to me. So that's probably my favorite part. Let's see, my career goals. I'm gonna be an occupational therapist. It's like a physical therapist, pretty similar. So I'm trying to get into grad school right now, trying to go to Idaho State University. So, okay, so we'll just go down the line. Brooke, if you want to go next.
Did you say, oh, me? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Brooke Bowen, and I'm in Houston, Texas, and I'm in public health. My favorite thing about this class so far, I like Tyler said, I am super interested in how our behavior, why we do what we do, how our minds work and all that. So this is really interesting stuff to me. I eventually, I've always wanted to be a forensic psychologist for that very reason. But for now, I'm just getting a degree in public health. So. That is.
Okay. What was your career goals?
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm doing public health, so I would love to be able to like work with like, I don't know specifically, but I've always wanted to work with like maybe battered women or
Okay.
in an area like that, maybe lower income areas with health education.
Exciting. Okay. Thank you. Christina, my ex-group partner, you're next.
Yes, hello. My name is Christina Pinargote. I'm living in Lehi, Utah right now. My husband got a job down here, and so I was like, I have to do my schooling online then. So we moved over here. My favorite thing about this class so far is just learning all the mechanisms behind how people think in their behaviors. I'm a health psychology student, so I find that really interesting. My career goals are to be a sleep researcher. And so this class is really interesting for me because it helps me understand people's behavior and attitudes towards sleep too. So, yeah.
Okay. And did you say your career goals?
Yep, to be a sleep researcher.
Sleep researcher.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're at Cody. Sorry.
Hi, I'm Cody Johnson. I'm actually here in Rexburg also. Just taking some online classes to get more done at once. I actually work at Madison Memorial Hospital with Mike. I'm almost positive. He's in the ER, and I see him all the time. I'm a phlebotomist there and a lab tech.
Oh, that's cool.
Anyway,
you look familiar.
Yeah, I saw you, and I was like, oh, I know him. Career goals, I hope to go to PA school. So right now, with the public health degree, everything kind of lines up really nicely for prereqs. And then I'll just have my clinical hours working at the hospital until I'll apply this fall. I actually graduate in July. What I like about this class, when we do the reading reports, I like that he actually answers my questions to my reading reports a lot of the time. So on feedback, he'll answer a lot of my questions. I think that's really cool.
Thank you. Great. Hope you're excited for application. I'm applying to graduate school and it's hell. It's like the worst experience of my life. Can't stand it. All right, Julie, you're up next.
Hi, I'm Julie Jones. I live in Citrus Heights, California. I'm a public health major, almost done, senior, so I'm getting there slowly. I like to either work in my school district with public health or work in the county with WIC. So that's my goal so far.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Caitlin?
Sorry, I was muted.
Okay. You're good.
I'm Caitlin. First of all, sorry I was late. I was waiting for the email to come in, and I clicked on it the second I saw it. It took a while to come in, so sorry about that. I live currently in Draper, Utah. I'm from Alpine. I went to school up at BYU, Idaho, but met my husband. He went to school down here, so I moved and am doing classes online now. I'm a public health major. I'm almost done, hopefully. Just depends on how much I can take while working full time. My career goals are kind of up in the air, but ultimately, as soon as I graduate, I want to go to massage therapy school and be certified in that, and hopefully use my public health degree and massage therapy degree to get into like rehabilitation massage therapy type stuff. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mike?
Okay, so I'm Mike Zime. I'm also in Rexburg, working in the ER at Madison Memorial, where I see Cody. I'm also majoring in public health. I'm working on applying to PA school. And so my favorite thing about this course probably have to be the way, probably just the different theories, how they predict how people react, their reactions and their behaviors towards the different aspects of healthcare.
Okay, thank you. Perfect. Okay, so I think what would be best if everybody pulled up their notes from the reading that or the project, whatever it is, or you can pull up the reading all together. The first part we need to talk about, we're reviewing the model, summarize how the theory of reason, action plan, behavior model works. And then we need to discuss their processes and how they relate to the stages of the model. So if everybody wants to pull up their readings for a reference, reading, whatever, doesn't matter. Sorry, my computer is going really slow right now. Was everybody able to do the I don't know why, but I wasn't able to do it, but it was the theory of reason, action, and theory of planned behavior where you fill in the diagram. I couldn't pull up the presentation, but I'm pretty sure that would be very helpful if you guys were able to do that. Okay, so let's just start with the first thing. You guys just chime in how you want, I guess. You don't really need to call on anyone. Not really a teacher. But summarize how the theory of reasoned action works. If any of you guys have that.
I put that one works by basically predicts based on, let's see, personal factors and social influences.
Okay. Anybody else have a different answer? You don't really need to answer. Just
well, how I've
You're good. You're good. You can
okay.
go.
How I viewed it is the chart really helped me on the PowerPoint. Just understanding that there's two different ways to kind of start a behavior. The first way is the personal belief, which affects the personal attitude, which leads to an intention, which leads to a behavior. And the second part is the person's beliefs about other people's beliefs, basically, which is the subjective norm, which leads to intentions, which leads to behavior. So both of those lead into a person's intentions, and the intentions are what are an antecedent to behavior.
yeah, I like that.
And I missed a little part of what you said. Did you say the belief, sorry, the attitude separately than the norm? I can't think.
Yeah. So basically, the person's belief leads into being their attitude.
Okay.
And then the second branch of it is the person's beliefs of what other people believe. And that's the subjective norm.
Okay. Everybody good with that? Agree? Disagree? Okay, great. Great. All right, now let's do planned behavior, theory of planned behavior. Summarize how that works.
It's very similar. It's just that they've added control beliefs to it and your perceived behavioral control. So it's still your beliefs lead to your attitude, and your subjective norms lead. I think our subjective norms also lead to our attitude about something. And even though that's not exactly how it was written, but I think between our behavior or belief, between our beliefs, like what we value and stuff, and also our subjective norms. I think both those lead to attitude, which leads to our intention. But it also brings in, before your behavior, we have to know, feel. I don't know how to put things in words. Sorry. Our control beliefs are how much we think we have control of that behavior, or both internally and also because of our environment. So all of that leads to our intentions, which leads to our behavior.
Yeah.
I think that, I'm sorry, you can't, Brooke, I think I agree with what she was saying, is that they're both pretty similar. But with the planned behavior model, I think the way that I remember it is that it kind of includes self-efficacy with it, just because it's how much we believe we can do the behavior, how much we believe in the things that inhibit or facilitate it, or, and so I think that, to me, the only difference between the two is reasoned action, and is the same as planned behavior, but then you add in how much you believe you can do the behavior, I guess. So the self-efficacy of the behavior. So.
Great. Anybody else have anything you want to add? Or is that good? Great.
Good.
Okay. All right. The next thing, which we kind of did, is discuss the processes and how they relate to the stages of the model. Do you guys know where it talks about the stages? Are the stages the constructs?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Is that what it means? Okay. So how they relate to the stages of the model. Discuss the process.
What I think is interesting is in both ways that Christina was saying, how we have to first like have the behavior belief, and then the other way is the subjective norm is that it's like, well, how do I think I should act, or how does that other person think that I should act? And so they both of those processes, I guess, start with like, well, how does so and so think, or what's their opinion, you know? And so it starts with that like thought process of caring what you think about yourself or what others think about what you're doing, you know. So
I like that.
Yeah.
I have a little. Oh,
go ahead.
Sorry, I just have a little spiritual connection to this. Like, I feel like, I don't know. This is kind of inspired this model, because when we learn about our Heavenly Father, we can learn more about Jesus and how he acted, and so we have this example to look for in our actions. So
I like that. That's cool. All right. Anybody else?
There's so many documents I'm trying to look at the same time. So.
Yeah. I do agree that it's kind of like how, like, theory of reason action is kind of how others, it's kind of like outward environmental factors, and then theory of planned behavior goes to more like how much the person believes. I know a couple of you guys already mentioned that, and I think that's where kind of the biggest difference happens is like subjective norms, outcome evaluations, behavior beliefs. It's kind of just all how other people will view the individual compared to how well the individual itself can control, you know, the behavior or what's they're facing. So
I feel like at the beginning of the reading somewhere it said that theory of reasoned or theory of planned behavior is like an updated version of theory of reasoned action. And I think the reason to me it's more updated is because the whole like way people behave was based on, you know, again, like what we think we should be doing to behave, what others think that we should be doing to behave. But then it's updated to like they realize that, oh, you need to believe that you can actually do it, change the behavior, or to do or believe in the things that are going to facilitate or inhibit you, you know. And so it's like people realize that you actually have to believe in yourself to make a difference, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not to go super cheesy, but just kind of.
That's good.
Yeah, it says in the reading that after they developed PRA, they did a meta-analysis and found it had a strong predictability, but some researchers felt it was deficient in explaining behavior, especially behavior of people who have little power. Yeah, I think you hit a spot on.
Okay. I like that altogether. Okay, so now we're going to do part 3. The first part is what kind of interventions centered on the processes move people through the stages? What kind of interventions centered on the processes move people through the stages?
Well, it talked about tact. I think that's a big one that's kind of relative to all the interventions you could do in this, because it's important to have something you can measure and like a set plan for something. You just say I'm going to do it, like it's not really going to happen.
Okay. Who else?
I think it kind of relates to we did that table, I think it was a few weeks back, that had all the different interventions. I think different interventions help people through the different constructs or processes.
Where was this at?
So was it
Yeah, it's
2 or
lesson
3
two.
weeks ago, we had that table.
Like when it
Yeah.
talks about like what to modify to do different things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's kind of what it's saying.
The one
Yeah.
that one
It
that
actually brings it up in the homework too. On the next, for the health innovator, actually brings it up that thing we did with all the different areas.
yeah. Well, the two that it talked specifically about when it talked about ways to modify were control beliefs and perceived power. I mean, they talked about all of them, but those they gave specific things you can do to modify them. And role models was a big thing because when you see other people doing it, you can see that you can do it. But also to help them like break it down into smaller steps.
Okay. Anybody else?
I know when I've thought through, like, as I've gone through this homework, I always try to help myself understand it better. I have to just kind of find something that I can relate to. So I have to think of like, me personally. But I know, like I'll just use this example because it helped me to talk through it more. But when I want to exercise, right? But I just have never been able to like really get myself to. Usually, without that incentive of like, oh, your health's really bad. If something bad's gonna happen if you don't, then we don't all have that motivation. But when I was finally able to like change my attitude, it's not about it because it talked about that in there about how our attitude towards something is different than our attitude about something. So like we all have a good attitude normally about that can bring us good, but we don't necessarily have a good attitude toward it. So when we can change that, that's when we're able to take action. So if we can try to modify or somehow put into the interventions a way to change their attitude toward it, that's what's going to change.
Yeah, I think that's important because, like I said, theory of reason action. It's like a lot of like subjective norms, like what others think of the behavior and what culture, society accepts. And I think the biggest factor to modify that behavior is just changing the way you think about how people view you. Like you can change subjective norms because the word subjective, like those are just kind of how you see it. And if you change your attitude and your attitude about how, for example, let's see. So subjective norms, one's belief that most of the significant others in one's life think one should or should not perform the behavior. And I just think, if you change your attitude, having like I don't really care how people see it, like I'm going to do it the way I think is right or correct. And it kind of removes that peer pressure out of the behavior, whether it's positive or negative, I guess. So I just think it has to do with a lot of changing the individual's attitude of how he sees his surroundings, how he interacts with his environment compared to him changing his environment, I guess to say. So.
Yeah, going off of that, I was teaching my husband this to help me kind of understand it better, the theory of reason behavior. That's what's it's called, right? Theory of reason behavior.
Yeah.
Theory of reason action, sorry.
Action.
So yeah, something that came up when we were talking about this was that our beliefs about what other people believe could be wrong. And so, like, we might believe that our friend believes that health isn't important, but, they could be thinking that it is important. So we need to recognize that the subjective norms that we have, they could be wrong. And we just need to do what we think is right. It's kind of going off of what Tyrell was saying.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. The next part is discuss the examples presented in your readings. How is the model used in these examples? what examples? Does anybody know what examples that's referring to?
It listed a bunch of examples like acceptance of diagnosis of depression, attitudes about genetically modified foods.
Isn't one like HIV,
modeling alcohol use. Yeah.
in school?
There's a bunch of different examples of like how this model could be used to change people's attitudes and like behavior towards those things, if that makes sense.
Got it. I found it. Okay. Yeah. So how was the model used in these examples? I don't know if you guys just want to, we could start with, let's just start with the first one, or let's start with attitudes about genetically modified foods. That one's kind of weird. Let's do acceptance of diagnosis of depression. And just use.
I think that the depression one is the one that kind of made the most sense to me, because it was, you think to yourself, because I have a lot of friends that have been going through depression, and they think that other people don't accept them for that. And they think that they should be behaving in a certain way because they can't show that they're depressed, and they think other people think that too, and so it's just a whole cycle. And so like when you like kind of change the way that they think that they should behave and change the way that they think others think they should behave, that sounds weird, but then their behavior is going to be different, like that. I saw it with my best friend growing up when she was going through depression, when she came to realize that people just care about her and just want her to be happy instead of faking it, then she actually changed the way that she reacted to situations and wasn't as depressed, if that makes sense. So
I think that one,
I guess, yeah.
It's also really important to change their attitude about that too, because there's that stigma that, there's something wrong with you. I know, like, I deal with depression. My daughters deal with depression. But when I first started trying to get my daughter to go to somebody, it was like, no, that means I'm crazy, and stuff like that. And just changing her attitude about, no, this is going to help you to like learn ways to cope with it and to deal with it. Her attitude about it completely changed, and she's like totally open about it and fine now, but this, and that also has to do with the subjective norms, I think too, just because that's a stigma that people put on it often. So that affects your attitude toward it.
Well, I
think when you change your attitude, then it goes into another like one of the other constructs is motivation to comply. That like you're not gonna, like, your daughter didn't want to go see somebody about it because she just thought, of that stigma, But as soon as she realizes that like it's not a big deal and it helps you and like change your whole mindset about it, then like she'll want to comply a little bit more, and then that's what helps start change the behavior, I guess. In my mind.
I think the attitude has to be changed with kind of just understanding that's who you are. Like this is something that I have, and that's just part of me. That just has to do with your self-worth and your self-efficacy. And I think changing like your subjective norms, that has to do with just, I think that starts with open communication. I think if you're ashamed of it and you're kind of hiding behind it, you'll never really understand how people view it and how people view you, or unless you were, open with your friends and be like, hey, friends or family, just be like, hey, I suffer with this. And I, for the most part, they're going to be, oh, we love you, we help you, we'll do this. And I think those are two very important ways to change, how you understand how people view you and how your attitude towards the depression will be changed.
I think also role models play a big role in it too, because when you bring that into it, it can change how they, how like your kind of their control behavior about, or their, I guess I'm talking about the other theory though, but just, hold on, TPB is what I'm talking about. Did they talk about using that with depression too? They did, right? I'm not sure, but
I think so. I think it was both, and those were the examples of both.
It was both.
They described the intervention they did on condom use the most, just because that was like their biggest example, but it made it a lot clearer exactly the steps in the theory.
Anybody else have anything to add? Okay, let's do exercise, physical activity behavior, and how the model is used in that example. How was the model used in exercise? Where is it at? Exercise and physical activity behavior. What do you guys think?
Well, I read, sorry, I keep talking. You guys seem to me to shut up. But, as we're doing this, I read another study that it wasn't in the reading, but it was done they were trying to use a theory in teaching getting older people more active.
Mm-hmm.
And they used a lot of the, I don't remember. Oh, I must have read it last week when they did the self-efficacy, but they used all these steps in that because they taught them, and they like, I'm trying to look at my graph. Sorry, I keep losing it. Like first they like from self-test, is that what you call it? I don't know what I'm trying to say, but where they like figure out the person's attitudes toward it or about it. And then from there they separated them into two groups. Never mind, forget it, because I can't remember the whole thing. So that was just pointless to tell you that.
Anybody else?
So
I think
I noticed that.
Christina, go for it.
Man, I am the most awkward interrupter. I'm sorry. Okay, so I noticed that the exercise example was like mentioned in table 5.3 and 5.4. So are they looking for us to describe it with the theory of reason action or the theory of planned behavior?
I was really just asking theory of reason action, but it doesn't matter. Just kind of how, but you can do both. They're pretty close to the same thing.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was on the same page. Go ahead, Caitlin.
No worries. I mean, I guess what I was going to say isn't entirely going along with the question, I guess. But I think it's interesting because physical and exercise behavior is something that I think we're all kind of familiar with because we all want to eat better. We all want to exercise more, and we all have these goals. But I think that within the model, where it stops is because we all have good attitudes toward the behavior because we know that it's good for us. Mm-hmm. But where it stops, I think, is attitudes about the behavior, where it's like, well, we live in a society of like instant gratification. It's like, I don't want to work out because I'm only going to lose a pound a week, if that, if and I want to lose 20 pounds now or something like that, so I think that's where it stops. And that's where we need to change our mindset, is like the attitude about the behavior is actually what causes the behavior, so that we actually do it. If that makes sense.
You mean the toward is how, right?
I think so. I might get them mixed up. I'm sorry if I mixed them up.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Well, when I interviewed my parents, both my parents were wanting to get healthy, and they were excited. But after going through the interview, I was like going, okay, keep a food log and do this. And they're like, is there anything else you want to tell us? I'm like going, I can't tell you because they didn't tell me that. Yeah. So for me, I felt like if I'm going to be educating people, I want to have a little bit more information for myself and what they should be doing, instead of going, I don't know what's going to happen. Which to me, it felt like I was like left in the air, and they want to get healthy, and they wanted to at least have some things to get healthy with. That they gave us.
Yeah.
I think it has to do a lot with when it comes to physical exercise. I think it has to do with a lot of outcome evaluations and perceived power, because outcome evaluations, the value a person placed on the outcome resulted for the performance. And like Caitlin said, sometimes or what, I don't know if it's Caitlin, where it talks about how it's, you see slow results. Like, am I going to put in all this work to, lose 1 pound or something? And I think that's very important that an individual be able to see the long-term goal and, just keep progressing in that way. Because if they say, like you said, the instant gratification, you see, you want to lose 20 pounds tomorrow, which is unrealistic. So if you understand the positive outcomes and understand that it comes in like smaller increments, I think it'll be easier to change the behavior. And then when it comes to perceived power, it's something that you can't really do too much about. Like you can exercise, you can eat healthy, you can do all these things, but you don't really have too much power of what you're going to be able to look like. Some people, they want to lose fat on their stomach and, it goes off their legs or something. It's just genetic. So they don't have a lot of power in what they know what they want to look like, but they don't really have the power to change to be, that person or that model or something like that. And so I think those are two important factors when it comes to physical exercise to me personally.
In the reading, it even said, behavioral beliefs and outcome evaluations together kind of determine our attitude towards behavior.
Mm.
I think as far as control beliefs also, because, it talked about how it wasn't just our internal control beliefs, but also things that are external. Like just back to my example of when we were talking about exercising, maybe someone doesn't feel like they have the money to go join a gym, or, they just don't have, that ability to go somewhere. But I was kind of in that situation where I just didn't want to spend the money to do that. And I feel like I don't actually go when I do that. And so I just came up with workouts I could do at home and stuff like that. And so I think knowing that there's, environmental things or external things that we can control, that also can change our attitude toward it.
Huh. Like that. Anybody else have anything you want to add? Need to add?
When we talk about role models and all that stuff, and I think it's called salient beliefs. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Where it's outside people's beliefs that you take in and kind of they model you and your behavior and belief and everything. That is so true, and I've seen that in an example in my nephew. I was just watching a basketball game, and of course, the Golden State Warriors are huge now, and Steph Curry and all those players and everything. And my nephew asked me, he said, "Is Steph Curry cool?" And I just casually said it. I was like, "Yeah, he's cool, whatever." And now I found out later on from my brother that all my nephew's doing now is taking 3-point shots in basketball games and all these things because Steph Curry's doing it. Yeah. So that's just a good example to me of kind of that positive salient belief I gave to him, and then he took it and he modeled it after what he saw. And he knew the outcome was if I take so many threes, I'm going to make so many shots and get so many points. Mm-hmm. It's just that's a small example that I've seen in my life so far. And I guess, I don't know, I was thinking about it because we were talking about the exercise and everything.
Yeah. I think that's a great example. Anybody else? Yeah,
Can somebody explain to me the difference between salient beliefs and subjective norms? Because I feel like they're kind of the same thing.
I think they are, but it's the different types, like the theory of planned behavior and the theory of reasoned behavior.
Oh, okay.
That's what I thought. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'll take your word for it.
Beliefs are made up of beliefs a person accumulates over their lifetime. What was the other one you said between that and subjective norms?
Yeah.
I think maybe that's just more at that time in our life. I don't know. Maybe salient beliefs is more generalized. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So salient beliefs would be more to the individual, whereas subjective norms would be more
I think salient's more personal, whereas subjective is more the social.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. So the next part is our scenario. If everybody wants to pull up the lesson 7 foundation. So it's a slide. None of my slides are pulling up in this class. I don't know why.
Are you maybe you use like a different browser?
Okay.
So this scenario,
I have it up if we want to read through it.
If you want, can you screen share it?
Yeah, if I knew how to do that, I'd love to.
It's in your
Someone must tell me how to do that.
It's in your top left. Hold on.
You guys, I can screen share it. I think I've got it up.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry, I don't know how to do this thing.
Let's see. This one right here.
Oh, hey, screen share. There you go. Cool. Yes, great.
Can everybody else see it on his?
Mhm.
No, for some reason.
Oh.
Okay, I got it.
I have to click on his. Sorry.
Yep.
It's going a little slow. All right, so we need to discuss Grace's scenario from the Lesson 7 Foundation Early in Lesson. Ask each group member to share their thoughts on each option. Where does each option fit into the morally forbidden to morally permissible range? Explain your rationale. Okay. So I guess we'll start with the first one. Yeah, how many is there of these?
So there's just the 4 questions, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't able to pull it up, so I have no clue.
Oh,
Okay.
were you able to read the story on it? Basically, in a nutshell, it's just different scenarios. Grace thinks that this powder is sugar and gives it to her friend. It's poison and she gives it to her friend.
Nope, I did not read that, I guess.
Yeah, so there's
It's
these different scenarios.
Okay. Thank goodness I'm the group leader, so you guys all were able to see it. I don't know why. I've tried it with different browsers. I just don't. None of the PowerPoints in his class are able to open for me, so I have to do it on other computers. But okay, so let's just. Was everybody able to read that?
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah, just go to the first question. Every member needs to share their thoughts on each option. Where does the option fit in the morally forbidden, morally is right? Explain. Okay, so Grace thinks the powder is sugar. It is sugar. Her friend is fine. Do you just want to start, Brooke?
Yeah. That's morally permissible. 5.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, Christina. Just go.
5.
Are you guys all in order? Brooke, Christina, Cody, Julie, Kate.
Well, I think everybody's on their
On the right.
on the right.
Isn't it alphabetical on everybody's? Is that not right?
Other
No.
than yourself, and then
Yeah, like I'm on the far right on mine, but I think everybody else is alphabetical.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
right. Okay, I'll just do it. Okay, Christina,
Yeah,
you
5.
already just went.
I'll be there.
Mike or Cody, I mean.
5.
Does everybody say 5?
Yeah.
Great. Grace thinks the powder is sugar. It is toxic. Her friend dies. Brooke.
I still think that's 5. Or what did I say? I think that's still morally permissible. So I think it's.
Yeah.
Just share. It says share what your answer and why.
Let me see what I wrote on mine. I wrote 4, but that was just because her friend died. But it was morally permissible because she wasn't doing anything intentionally. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically the same thing for me. I did a 4 and said it was an accident.
Cody.
Yeah, that's the exact same thing I said.
Julie.
Yeah, I said the same thing too.
Caitlin. Mike. Same.
Yeah.
Well, I put a 5.
Okay. Caitlin. Down.
I mean, I put a 5 just because it was. I mean, she didn't need to at all, and so it wasn't like she had any sort of ulterior motive to make it go less morally permissible. But at the same time, I remember I did click 4 because she dies, and I was like, oh, that's a sad thing. But then I was like, but she didn't mean to, so I clicked 5 and then moved on. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike, you put 4. So you said?
I put 5 on both 1 and 2 because her intentions were both the same.
Okay. Great. Grace thinks the powder is toxic. It is sugar. Her friend is fine. Brooke?
But 1.
Why?
Because she's trying to poison her friend.
She's a sucky friend. That's why.
Yeah.
I think I can't remember what I put, but I think I put 2, because she had really bad intentions, but it didn't work. So.
Okay, Cody.
Oh yeah, it's totally a 1. Like, she's trying to kill her friend.
Julie.
I put a 2, but she tried to kill her friend. I'm like, okay, well, that's not good.
Caitlin.
I put a 1 for the same reasons that I put 5 on 1 and 2, just because it's purely because of her intentions. She
Mike.
intended to do more.
Yeah, Mike.
Oh.
Okay. Grace thinks the powder is toxic. It is toxic. Her friend dies. Brooke.
I'm not sure. No, 1.
Christina.
I put 1 because she had bad intentions and it was successful.
Yeah. Did everybody put 1? Anybody else put anything other than 1? Okay. Great. Okay. The last thing we need to do is go to your application lesson 7 assignment. And we need to pull up someone needs to hold on. Yeah, does someone want to pull up their interviews from lesson 4? We just have to do one altogether.
I can do it.
Christine, was that you?
Yep.
Thank you.
I've actually got to be somewhere at 7:30, so I might skip out on this one with you guys.
Okay.
But I will catch you guys next time.
All right.
Question
Thank you.
before you go. Who's the leader next time?
Does anybody want to volunteer?
Do you have to know how to do the HOA? Because I don't know. I mean, I can learn, but.
Probably be helpful.
Okay. Does anybody else know how to do the HOA before I volunteer myself?
I know how, but I have something next Thursday, so I wanted to see if anybody or like.
Oh, okay.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. Unless everyone can change their night, I won't be able to lead next week.
Yeah, I think I have to check my work schedule. I might have to leave pretty early next week.
Everyone could do it a different night. If there's enough of us missing it, we could do that. But
I'm pretty free after in the evenings every day next week, so whatever. Besides Monday.
Wednesdays?
I'm good on Wednesday.
I have my kids at mutual, but I can definitely do it before, so that should be fine.
I think I work both Wednesday and Thursday next week at 6.
That's rough.
Yeah.
I can do it earlier Wednesday. I don't know.
I don't get off
guess
work
I'll make it
until
earlier.
5. So I can't until at least 5:15.
I'm trying to see. Are y'all available Tuesday? We could do that.
Tuesday?
I'm free Tuesday.
I think I can Tuesday too.
I can too.
I just
in a week, but if everyone can get their reading done before that, we could do it.
Oh, you're right. Yes, the reading's due that night.
That's kind of a hard.
That is hard.
I don't know. Maybe we can I'll email about it and figure it out.
Did we decide Tuesday, or are we still kind of like?
Can
Only
everybody,
I think they can get
Email about it.
can everybody do the reading before 7 o'clock or 6
Well,
o'clock?
the thing is, I have scouts on Tuesdays at
Oh, okay.
7 too, so I don't know.
Well, if there's only how many people we're gonna miss Thursday?
I think it was just you.
I won't be here Thursday at 6.
Two of us.
What if we try Friday? Friday sometime?
Friday should work for me.
I'm free on Friday.
I think I am. I'm not sure. But I think I am.
Okay.
Let's plan on Friday, and if somebody finds out that some comes up, then we'll email and try to figure it out.
Yeah. Okay. We need to let Marcia, I think her name was. We need to let her know.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I guess I will be the group leader. I'll figure out how to do the HOA.
It's really easy. If you go back
Thank you.
to the beginning of the class, was it the introduction part? It tells you how to do it, walks you through it. So
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Then yeah, I'll do it.
thank you.
They're only supposed to be like 45 minutes long, so we could always do Wednesday, just like
I actually have a
5.
lesson Wednesday, and you worked. You said, Mike.
Yeah, if we did
works-
5:15, I could just leave a few minutes early.
Yeah, if we start at 5:15,
Okay.
it's still 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
I'm fine with that. I'll
Five-
just get on right when I get home.
Your time, right? I keep getting mixed up when you guys tell me time.
Yeah, I'm in mountain time or whatever it is. So
Central
Yes,
time.
Mountain.
6:15.
Let's just plan on 5:15 on Wednesday, and if something comes up,
On standard time. Okay.
Sounds good.
I'll probably send a link out at 5.
all right.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll see you guys next week.
See you, Mike.
Okay.
okay, bye.
Yeah, Christina, can you pull up your interview real quick?
Yeah.
We'll just do this real quick, and then everybody's free to go.
Okay. All right. What do we do? I haven't pulled it.
Identify the constructs from the interview questions and select which area the volunteer struggled with the most.
Okay, I'll share my screen. Can you see it?
Can you zoom in a little bit on your?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yeah. So yeah, we need to identify the constructs from the interview questions
Okay.
and select which, and then after we do that, we'll find out. So let's start with the first construct, which is behavior. I don't
understand.
Yeah, I don't understand either.
There were 10 different constructs, and it's just wanting us to identify each of them in this interview, right?
Okay.
Do we just identify the behavior in each question? Is that how it works?
Well, what was the assignment? Read that to me again.
It's identify the constructs from the interview questions and select which area the volunteers struggle with the most.
Okay, so the construct could be either behavior or attitude or control.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
So the first question is, how well do you feel you know the recommended standards for healthy nutrition and eating? So that's
Do we do all like whatever 10, 13 constructs, whatever it is?
yeah, there were 11 constructs. I don't know if they're all in or not, but I'm guessing they are.
but we just have to identify what the question is, right?
Attitude, right? Their beliefs.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this one is asking like, how well do you feel you know?
Okay. So
So go ahead.
oh, sorry. No, I just think that would be beliefs because that's what their behavioral beliefs, right?
Yeah. So like personal beliefs.
Sure.
Yeah. But see, the beliefs that performing behavior will lead to certain outcomes. Yeah, I think it's personal
Okay.
beliefs or something.
How willing are you to make changes?
Motivation to comply.
Yeah.
think it'd be a good idea for y'all to take notes for your own application assignment too, because we all have
Make
to
it
kind of
way
send
easier.
Yeah.
Already prepared are you to make changes in your nutritional eating pattern in the next 4 weeks? Would that be motivation to comply too?
I think that's also control, maybe their control perception. I don't know, whatever that is called. Let's see.
I thought it was control
Perceived
beliefs.
control.
Wait, what was it?
Perceived behavioral control. Right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. Perceived behavioral control.
Oh, perceived?
Yeah.
Yeah, perceived behavioral control.
Okay, cool. My meals according to the recommended standards schedule or recommended standards regularly over the next 4 weeks would be. So I feel like this is some form of self-efficacy. So like
That would probably be their like also their control beliefs. I don't know. Like what do you think? Oh, well, look at your.
It's control beliefs, I think.
Yeah, because it was on a 7 point. Let's see, what was it? Crap, what was that one?
See, it says beliefs in internal and external factors may inhibit or facilitate behavior. So this would be like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. That just goes together in my head. I don't know if that makes sense to everyone else.
Yeah, it does.
so remember. Oh,
wait,
go ahead.
What did you put for 5 again?
We haven't.
Oh, I didn't put anything.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay, I guess we can go to 5 now. Most of my friends, it's just asking the social stuff. So like most of my friends eat healthy. Most of my family members eat healthy. My spouse eats healthy.
So is that more like normative beliefs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think would this one be more subjective norm instead of normative beliefs?
Subjective norms are what you think they think you should be doing. So
okay.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the difference?
The normative beliefs are how someone thinks that those close to them want them to behave. And then the subjective is similar, but the subjective norm is like what you believe they think you should or shouldn't be doing. So
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really could be either or. It doesn't.
Yeah, they're very similar.
Okay. Most people in my social network want me to eat healthy. So that
would be.
I think that's subjective.
Yeah. Well, wait. Normative beliefs. I mean, if we have to separate them, that one specifically said what those close want them to do. So the others, what they think they should be doing. So, like, if my family thinks that I should be working out, that doesn't necessarily mean they really want me to be working out. They just think I should be, right? So that's the subjective norm. If they really want me to be doing it, that's the normative belief.
Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, because this is asking their opinion on that subject. So
yeah.
Okay.
7, I think, is perceived.
How confident are you that you'll be able to eat healthy? So that's
either perceived behavioral control or just perceived power.
How in control of the performing the behavior the person feels is the perceived behavioral control. So that sounds like it's probably it, right?
Yeah, I do perceive behavioral control.
Sweet. How confident are you that you could overcome obstacles?
That's perceived power.
Perceived power.
Oh, did you say? What'd you say, Brooke?
What did you say? Yeah, what did you say?
Well, it could be control beliefs. Control beliefs or perceived power, whatever one.
Power is, it says, is their perception of how difficult. I'm just trying to read it.
Perceived power. How do you modify is removing barriers. So.
Perceived power is.
Yeah.
Okay, then that would be it. I think you're right.
I believe I have the ability to eat healthy. So
perceived behavioral control.
I think.
Or did somebody else have something to say about that?
Nope.
I'm just reading. I'm sorry.
That's okay. What kinds of strategies have you done in the past to change your nutritional / eating patterns?
Would it be control beliefs?
I think it's
Because it's internal and external factors that inhibit and facilitate.
Are you talking about 10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 strategies.
What kinds of strategies have you done in the past?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. What is your current weight or body composition affecting your life right now?
Um,
That one's hard.
I don't know.
I feel like that one's just perceived
I think
behavior.
that might be control beliefs because that's a beliefs about the factors that could be affecting our behavior rather than how well we'd be able to control it.
What one were you arguing for? Perceived.
Control beliefs.
Oh, control beliefs. Okay. Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, I'm just taking a picture of these as we go.
Are you willing to keep a nutritional intake long? Have you kept one before?
That would be motivation to comply, right?
Yeah, definitely. How would you rate your knowledge of proper nutrition and its relationship to weight management?
Maybe behavioral beliefs. I don't know. Attitudes. Beliefs that performing behavior will lead to certain outcomes is what that is. I don't know. Yeah. Right?
I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm putting it. Does anybody want to talk about it? I'm not sure.
The funny thing, did you guys notice that? I don't know if you guys had the same experience, but when I interviewed, because I interviewed my husband and my daughter, and I kind of felt like we all agreed that nobody around us really cared if we exercised or not. But it was talking about that. They were like, nobody cares. But so I think that would have some other type of example on this could have been more useful.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay.
So this is the same format as above. Do you think we should just kind of transfer the answers we had over, or should we go through it? Oh, well.
Oh yeah, they're all the same, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for the next parts are all the same? Is that what you said?
Well, it's just about exercise
Yeah, because
and nutrition. So
okay.
It's the same type of question.
Okay, let's just skip those and go to the last, or whatever section's next.
okay, so wait, did they have I believe I have the ability in the nutrition?
I think so.
Sorry,
Yeah, I think so.
the attitude toward the behavior is different on this one. Go back to where you just were, like where it says what specific types of aerobic exercise. That's where it kind of changes, I think.
Okay.
And that would be your attitude toward the belief. I mean, toward the behavior, right?
Yeah. I agree with that.
So that's just
That's
attitude then, right?
attitude toward the behavior.
Yeah. And that's the same for the next one as well.
Oh shoot. I'm trying to be lazy and I make it harder for myself. There we go.
Would 11 be control beliefs again?
Yes.
What barriers in the past, if any, have prevented you
I think
from
so.
engaging?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How confident are you? I think that's perceived power. That could also be control beliefs. I don't know, we'll do perceived power, whatever.
Yeah, I like perceived.
Yeah, I think it's perceived power.
Okay.
What are the top 3 outcomes you want?
Outcome evaluation, whatever. Outcome evaluations.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, well, okay, so behavioral beliefs is the beliefs that performing behavior will lead to certain outcomes, right? Outcome evaluations is the value one places on each of them. So what was the question?
Oh, you're right. It'd probably be behavior beliefs. You're right.
But it could also be their, well,
We'll do both.
Sure.
You can't mark it wrong.
Next 4 weeks. In the next 4 weeks, my goal is to exercise. Motivation to comply.
Sure.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you willing to accept the fact? Blah 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 blah.
Oh, sorry.
That would be.
That would be the attitude. Well, that could be attitude toward behavior.
Yeah, probably.
Because of the answers you provided, how willing are you to participate?
Motivation to comply, maybe?
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna put. Alright, I think that's it.
Guys, we're awesome.
I believe I have the ability.
Okay.
Results.
All right, I'm going to stop the broadcast unless there's anything else that I'm missing.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think that was the last thing we needed to do.